Alright, I'm here to talk about the windshield in the 747. I got her messed up. I got some paint on it and scratched it up, and I want to polish it up and make it look good. As tiny as it is, I still am going to worry about that. So, well, mainly because I never have worried about it in the past. I have a couple of model kits in my stash that have some scratches on the windshields because the people I bought them from, buy them used on eBay, didn't necessarily take care of them properly. So let me get the camera off its tripod and zoom in on this windshield so I can show you what it looks like. Okay, here we have the windshield. You can see the paint on it. Now, that's Tamiya paint, and I found out the hard way that even if it's been cured for a week with Tamiya paints, you can get them off with alcohol. So I'll get the paint off there real quick in a few minutes. Now, let me see the size of my thumbnail. You can see how big this windshield is. This windshield's tiny. You can also see some of the glue marks on the edges of it over on this end here where I had originally glued her in. Let me turn her back this way. Okay. And you can see the fogging on the windshield. Here's what I plan on doing with it. I'm going to hit her with some 600 grit sandpaper real lightly after I pull the paint off with alcohol. Once I've done that, then 1200, and then 2000, 3000 grit sandpaper, somewhere in that range. And I'm going to polish it up with some Brasso. Alright? I'll be back when I'm done with that. But keep in mind, this thing is tiny. So even if I just fog the whole thing out, I don't think anyone's really going to notice it. Because again, you know, here, let's put a Q-tip next to it. That's the tip of a Q-tip that's been used. You can see this windshield isn't much bigger. I mean, it's about the same size as the tip of a Q-tip. So this thing is pretty tiny. Alright? So I'll be back after I've done some work on it, and I will give you updates between each grit of sandpaper. Well, here we have the windshield after the 1200 grit sandpaper. I don't really know if it's reduced fogginess that much. It seems to reduce it a little bit. One thing I have noticed, though, is I broke the windshield, but that's okay. And I don't know what that is. That just looks like a piece of silver reflection or something. I did remove the paint from it, too. I don't know what that is on that edge. I'll have to get that off there. That looks like residue from the glue. But I'm going to come back. I'm going to hit it with some 2000 grit next, then some 4000. I think I actually have some 20,000 grit. And then we'll polish her up and see what it does. Well, here she is after the 4000 grit sandpaper. It's a little less foggy if you ask me. But, you know, with this being yellow the way it is, it's going to be kind of hard to really tell if I get it cleared up or not. Up next, let's see, my sandpaper pack has 6,000 and then 12,000. I'm going to hit it with both of those and try polishing with some Brasso. And then when that's done, I can glue her in the 747, and then I can start painting the 747. I have this and a couple of panel lines left described. And that 747 is going to be ready for some paint. Hope to get a coat of paint on her tomorrow. Well, here we are after the 4000, and taking a look at it, it's starting to look like a windshield again, and not fogged up as badly. I'm going to hit it with 1200 and some Brasso and see what happens. Now, I'd be interested to see what happens when you do this on a much larger piece. Real interested. In fact, I might take some of the sprue or the base, because I don't plan on using the base for this and experiment around later, because this doesn't take that much time. Just fog it up with like 100 grit sandpaper and see if I can get the fog out. But anyhow, I'm going to hit her up with the 1200 and then the Brasso. Okay, here we are after the 1200 grit sandpaper. And this thing's surprising me, because when I first started, there was no shine, no glossiness to the plastic. And it's starting to turn clear. Really surprising me. Okay. I'm going to hit her with the Brasso next, and I'm not going to videotape that because this thing's so small you would never see what I'm doing. I'll describe what I'm doing right now with the Brasso. Basically, you take a cotton cloth, you wipe it in the Brasso, you let it dry. I mean, you just put a little teeny bit of Brasso on there. You let it dry. Then you rub that dried up Brasso across your plastic. Now, I got this off a YouTube video, so I'm not the person who originated this. The guy said he did this on every single aircraft build. He did this to every single canopy. He went across it starting with like 1200, 2000 grit sandpaper and went all the way up to 1500 grit sandpaper, and then he polished it up with some Brasso at the end just to make it really, really clear before he put it on his model. Okay, so there you have it. This thing has cleared up. That fogginess is almost gone. I think the Brasso is going to polish it up nice, and I'll be back when that's done. Okay, rubbed her down with the Brasso, the dried Brasso. That's probably as good as it's going to get. And it's really hard to see exactly what all that did to it because it is yellow plastic. It's a tiny, thick piece, and light is distorted by it. I got the little bamboo skewer here so you can kind of see the bamboo skewer through the plastic, so you can see some of if it's clear or not. But again, this is thick, it's almost lens shaped, so it's going to distort the light anyhow. It's a tiny piece. I've got half a mind to scratch up a piece of clear styrene I have and see what we can do with that. But this did take the frosting out. It's gone. I'm happy with the end result because that looks almost exactly like it did to me when I first started with the model back originally. Okay, now let me back the focus up some. I'm going to do this handheld. Okay, maybe not. Let's back that up some. There we go. There's the Corsair. You can tell I've been working on it. I got the seams filled up on it completely. Nose is on. I got the engine in the back. Okay, been working on the, I guess these are external fuel tanks. Been working on those. Almost got all the seams gone on them. There's Mr. Space Shuttle. Let's pull him over here. I still need to clean up the paint a little bit, but I've got it way more cleaned up than it was. I've been experimenting on different techniques for cleaning that paint up, trying to make her look better. She does look a lot better than she was, but I still need to do a teeny bit more cleanup before I'm satisfied. You can see in different spots that there's some issues with it, like right in there. That needs to be fixed up. If I turn her around, yeah, I really messed the top of the tail fin up here. I was painting, I did some of this by hand. I was painting that by hand up there, and my finger slipped. So I got some alcohol and tried to clean up, and it just smeared that black paint everywhere. So I'm going to see what I can do to fix that. I may not, I may just weather the crap out of that to hide it. And you can see my paint line right along here where I slipped also, but I'm going to go over that with the gray and try and kind of hide that. This tile detail right along here, once I get a clear coat on, I'm going to black wash that with some oil paint right along there, because those tiles lines are supposed to be filled in, and that'll highlight those. But I have to be careful because I don't want everything to be black washed. And one other person, Quarrelane, I hope I'm saying that right, pointed out to me at SMA, Scale Model Addict, that the tail fairing right here should not get weathered, and he's correct on that. That should not get weathered, whereas the rest of this thing should get weathered. So I'm almost done with the Shuttle. I did a teeny bit of weathering on the front windshield, okay, and I like how that came up, but I still have to correct some of the black paint around the front, and I have to redo the nose gray again because I undid that. I didn't like it. But anyhow, she's getting there. She's almost done and ready for her clear coat. That I should be able to accomplish tomorrow. All right, so that's where we're at with that. We'll be back later.